Hello, my name is Álvaro Justin. I'm also known as Turicas. Here is the URL of my blog, GitHub, and Twitter. I will talk to you about SBC, that stands for Secure Back Channel, in this video, and you can download it at GitHub. Its license is GPL version 3 and it's made in Brazil. So the URL is github.com/turicas/sbc, and the core idea of the project is to facilitate the use of SSH. So, for example, if you know bcvi, it looks like bcvi, but it's more secure and flexible. But the idea is the same. SBC creates a back channel, a port forward when it connects to a SSH server, and with this port forward, SBC can execute commands on your local machine that are typed in the remote machine. So, for example, if you want to copy a file from the remote machine to the local machine, you don't need to disconnect or open another terminal window in your local machine to execute SCP. You can call SBC and this command will be executed in the local machine, but you will type the command on the remote machine. You can do a lot of other things with this, and I will show you some plugins that are shipped by default with SBC. The first thing to do is to install SBC. These commands just download SBC, create a bin directory, put SBC executable on that bin directory, and well, change permissions, etc. So let's download SBC. Okay, now we can SSH to a virtual machine I have here. First, I will connect from this machine, and I will copy my public key, so I don't need to type the password every time I want to connect. So here I'm connected without needing to type a password. Okay. Now I need to install SBC in the remote server. I can do it with SBC install. It will create a private key. This private key is used to connect to the back channel. So when I connect from the local machine to a remote machine, SBC creates a back channel that is an SSH connection from the remote machine to the local machine. So obviously I need an SSH server running on the remote machine, but I also need an SSH server running on the local machine. I don't need to be root on these machines. I just need to have a username that can log in with SSH on both machines. So it created a private key, copied that private key and the SBC executables to the remote server, executed install, and updated my local authorized keys. Okay, now I can SSH to the remote machine. So I will call SBC SSH. The difference here from typing SSH is that SBC will create the SSH connection, but it will also create the back channel, and it just copies some metadata to server and the back channel. Okay, now we are on the remote machine, and I can, for example, create a file here. I don't have VIM, but I will use nano. So, whoops, this is a test. Okay, the file was created, and well, I will put it in a directory. Okay, so I have this file in my home at some G, another one, and some file.txt. And I want to copy this file to my local machine. Well, one way to do it is to use a local terminal. So here I'm on my local machine, and use scp with the entire path to copy. So for example, I can do it this way, but I want to do it. I don't want to create another terminal and type this huge command. So I just want to copy this file from the remote machine. So I will call Sbc. I will use the first plugin we are seeing here is cp, and I will cp this directory, this file, to my home on my local machine. So here, okay, if I get some file, this is a test. Well, I can edit the file. Oops, I don't have VIM. Another test. When I copy, it will overwrite the file on the local machine. So you can trust me, it's working. Okay, so this is the CP plugin. It just looks like SCP. Really, it is SCP, but it executes SCP in my local machine when I call it on remote machine. Now another very handy plugin is the VIM plugin. I love VIM, and I have my configurations in my local machine, but I don't want to copy all my configuration and even install VIM on this remote server, but I want to edit this file using VIM, and I don't want to copy this file to my local machine, edit the file, and then copy back to the remote machine. So I can use the VIM plugin, pass in this path, and SBC will run the VIM in my local machine, but it will show the output to me in the remote machine. Really, I'm physically in my local machine. I've created an SSH connection to the remote machine. So here I'm on the remote machine. And when I execute SBC VIM and a file that's located on remote machine, SBC will execute the local VIM to edit that remote file. So let's put something in here. We are using my local VM. Okay. When I get the file, we see that it was edited. Okay. But well, if you don't like VIM, we can also use, for example, gvim. The difference is that it will open another window instead of just opening the editor in the terminal window. So when I execute this command, it will open a window with gvim. It's running locally, so it's mine gvim. The remote machine doesn't have gvim installed, but this file will be saved on the remote. This file is located, stored in the remote machine. And now with vim, okay. If I cat the file, I have here. I also created the gedit plugin, so it will open gedit for me. Gedit, of course. Save, close. When I cat, okay, the file was changed. You can create a plugin to your preferred text editor. Now let's see how Sbc plugins are created. They need to be on the .sbc/plugins directory, and they are executable files. So you can create a bash script, Python, Ruby, PHP. Well, you can write it in C or Fortran, compile. It just needs to be an executable file. So I've created all this in bash, but we can create a Python script, for example. So let's create, test. It will be a Python plugin that will just print some environment variables. So for var in if remote in var print var OS environment var. So I need to put this as executable, and I don't need to reinstall SBC because it will run the plugin in the time when I execute it. So if here I just execute SBC test, it will print to me the output of that Python script that I've created. What SBC does is pass these 4 environment variables to your plugin, so your plugin can do some things. For example, the CP plugin needs to know what is your PWD, so it can know the absolute path of the file you need to copy. The gedit vim plugins also need to know it. So for example, if I change the path and run the test plugin, this variable will change. So a plugin is just some executable file that gets that information, that environment variables, and do something. And here we have just a plugin that doesn't do much, it just prints something, but you can create an interactive plugin. So for example, I will now create a question here, say something, something. Okay, so I will print use it, Okay, so I modified this Python script, and now I will wait for input of the user, and the user will interact with this plugin. And I saved it, and I will run it. So here, hello SBC, and as you can see, the plugin was interactive with me, so I can create some interactive plugins that ask for some things that it will do. Another interesting plugin is Notify. It's handy in case, for example, when you are creating a tarball or any kind of long-running process. For instance, I will show with sleep. It just notifies you on your local machine that that process just finished. So it finished. I will run it, and I will do other thing. For example, hello. Oops. It will pop up here a notification. It finished when the process finished. So this is a very handy plugin. I use it a lot. And another one you can use too is remote exec. Remote here points to my local machine, since I'm a remote machine, so the remote of the remote is my local. And I can execute, for example, uname. It will output the uname of my local machine. That's different from the remote one. So, for example, I can ls/tmp and see that it's different from the TMP of my remote machine. Well, that's it. If you want to contribute or create new plugins, please do it. If you have ideas, if you found some bugs, please contact me. Well, it's free software, and you can contribute. Thanks for watching.